I'll be loving you all my life till my dying day is through. I'll be loving you forever. Hey, everybody. Sorry for my tardiness a little bit, but it is good to be here. Hello, hello. Everybody is in the building today. So good to see you. So good to see you. All right, let's see. Here we go. Let me make sure I have. What's this? Oh, well, whatever. I have this started. Okay. So how you all doing? Let me know in the comments how you guys doing. All right. So welcome to the Jaybefaunt channel. I am your host, James Fauntleroy. Just to let you guys know that the Jaybefaunt channel is available on all major podcast platforms like Anchor, Apple, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. So you can follow me there. I'm also on the Revolutionary Blackout Network. You can catch me on the RBN Live on Tuesdays, and as well as the Sabby and JB show on Thursdays. So you can catch me there. Please make sure to give this video a thumbs up. And if you are new to the channel, I want you to take that beautiful finger and smash down that subscribe button. And if you do, I might just promise you cookies, cakes, pies, whipped cream. Who knows? If I can give it through the screen, I definitely would. But it's the thought that counts, right? So also just want to give a major shout out to all my patrons on Patreon as well as Coffee. Thank you so much for your support and thank you so much for believing in me. And I deeply appreciate it. You know, it really goes a long way. So from the bottom and top of my heart, thank you. I also just like to let you guys know I am also on Rumble. So if you guys would like to catch the JB show on Rumble, and if you're not subscribed there, you can do that as well. So it's so good to see all of you here today. Yes, I do not have my coffee with me. Not coffee. Gosh. I had my tea earlier, so I'm not going to be drinking tea throughout right now, but I think it's still in my system, so we can still, have some fun and move on. So I just want to say hello to everybody that's watching in the chat. We have Salgado saying, JB, Salgado, so good to see you. Matthew Lerma is in the house. Said, I stopped working to come support JB. Oh man, thank you so much. Love, love you. Hope you are recovering okay. I'm still like, okay. It's kind of a ish. Yeah, I'm all right. Hopefully I can get this thing fixed and I can get this stupid, axis out of my chest. But other than that, I'm okay. I'm okay. Thank you so much, Angela. Angela's also in the building. She says JB is always worth waiting for. Hello and hi to everyone coming into chat. So good to see you. Thank you so very much. Who else do we have in here? Who else part of the fam that we have in here? All right. And please, yeah, sure to share if you can on your social media, or even if you want to just email it to somebody, go ahead and email it to somebody. See if they're interested. Never know. All right. Baba Yaga Forest Dweller says, afternoon, y'all. So good to see you as well. David in the house. JB, thank you so much. All right. Robin Ryan is all here and accounted for. Where Pilgrim is in the building. Oh, yeah. So good to see every single one of you guys here. Holly Horn is also here today with us. So good to see you as well. Okay. Dana is also here. It is Dana or Donna. I'm sorry. I don't want to make sure I don't want to mispronounce your name, but it's so good to have you in the chat here as well. Good to have all here and accounted for. Zach is in the building. Says, how are you, my friend? I am okay. I'm a little hungry actually, though. I had a little something, not too long ago, but kind of went through me. I'm just like, Well, I got a couple bananas in there, but I'm not gonna eat it in front of y'all. I'm gonna say that for the OnlyFans, No, I'm just kidding. No, we're not gonna do that. I can teach you, but I have to charge. Let me stop. Let me see who else is. Why the hell do you guys watch me? Okay, so good to see all of you. Nam said, "What's up?" It's so good to see you here today. Omar Rona is also here and accounted for. So good to see you here as well. So, um, there's a couple things that I want to talk to you guys about today, and this is actually going to be very important. One is taking over the course of the week, and something also just happened recently to one of our comrades, a friend, Danny Haiphong, as well. So we're going to be discussing that on the show this afternoon. And let me see. I'm just sorry. I'm reading a comment. That was funny, Matthew. But one of the things that's going on right now, and I really want to go over is, and I kind of want to start off with this first. Shout out to comrade and friend Danny Haiphong. Many of you who watch me also watch Danny Haiphong, and Danny Haiphong is a very wonderful anti-imperialist, anti-capitalist journalist that talks a lot about foreign policy, and I can't wait to have him on his debut on this channel as well. Danny, if you're watching, please come on whenever you have time. I know you're very busy, because he's a very wanted person. So I understand how busy he is. But one day I hope to be able to sit down and have a conversation with him, especially about the United States and its relation to different countries around the world. And so one of the things that happened to him recently is that he was censored and he was put under suspension from Twitter. Why is this important? So I'm going to share my screen really quick just so you guys can get a little bit of context of what's going on to see exactly why our friend Danny was basically put in jail. So Danny had recently shared a post that I don't have the screenshot of it because I think it was taken down by Twitter. But he was talking about the truth about Tiananmen Square. And Danny, being the badass that he is, basically doubled down. So he said, Western media does not want you to know the truth about Tank Man. No violence occurred during the incident, which happened a day after the alleged Tiananmen Square massacre. Contrast this with the police vehicles that repeatedly struck Black Lives Matter protesters in 2020. So this is something that is basically not talked about because there's this new Cold War anti-China sentiment that is being spread among the U.S. populace, and it's been spread for last few years. And so, people like Danny Haiphong and other journalists like him are saying that the United States, they're not getting you this information correctly. Why aren't they getting you this information correctly? Because there is this military industrial complex fervor to try to cause military conflict with countries like China so that these corporations can drum up more drama so that they can make more money. And the fact that people like Danny Haiphong are covering this and basically ruining the gravy train of basically these major corporations, him collectively with many others, they get censored. And so they get censored for either he was reported or it was, an algorithm thing where they saw it and they flagged it as, either violent speech or something, which is completely absurd. And so this is what they did to Danny Haiphong. So just to let you guys know, Um, as far as the information that Danny put out, he actually also has it on his. I think he put out a video about it actually. Um, and you know what? I'm going to let Danny explain it better than I can, just so that there is no ambiguity or if I'm just saying things from my own personal interpretation. I want to get it straight from Danny's mouth. So we're going to go to one of Danny's latest videos where he actually talks about it in the beginning. And so I'm going to play this and I'll meet you guys on the other side.
Please do like the stream. Make sure you're subscribing to this channel. Make sure you're hitting that notifications bell. I think I'm going to do a poll for my subscribers here on YouTube to see if they're actually getting the notifications, because I've been hearing from many subscribers that they just don't get them. But in any event, it's been a hard week for me in terms of the censorship, not being able to share, communicate, or do anything on Twitter for a week is actually very, very, very detrimental to just being able to communicate with my following, to be able to get my journalism and my work out there. So when I woke up on Sunday morning and found that out, I had just retweeted that thread on Tiananmen Square that evening, and then I woke up saying that my account was locked. I had to. They wouldn't start the countdown unless I deleted the tweet. I submitted an appeal, but it just was not going quick enough. I don't know if you all have ever submitted appeals to Twitter. I have many times for being rejected for the so-called blue check for the verification, and I never get an answer in a timely manner. I always forget that I did it, and it ends up that a week, 2 weeks, sometimes more go by, and then I get an answer. So there was no way I was going to wait for an appeal, but I just wanted to see if during the day something would happen, and of course nothing had happened. So my countdown started yet last night. They're saying that I'm back in about 6 days and change. I was also told that it could be more. That's only a countdown of the minimum punishment that I will get. And so now I'm contemplating things like making another account. I am now publishing more on Telegram. So I'm actually going to put that link in the chat, and I'm going to put it in the chat later as well. This is going to be something, Telegram, that I'm going to be publishing a lot more to, because I don't think I can rely on Twitter anymore. Actually, I knew I couldn't rely on it. And now that I've gotten this kind of second strike, it seems like with each reporting of me that's successful, the punishment gets harsher. I suspect that my time there, especially when there's a sensitive issue that relates to China or US foreign policy in general, I'll be banned from Twitter. So this was kind of a wake up call, and I'm going to be on Telegram more, and then I'm also.
I muted myself. Do you guys still hear a bit of an echo? If you guys just still do, I'm going to mute myself again. But if you guys still hear echo, just please let me know.
Also going to be pursuing, I think, some of these alternatives. I am on Odyssey, so YouTube isn't the only place where these videos go. But of course, I think I need to get on to some of these other platforms just to make sure that the content is safe and that it's not just going to be wiped away. But with that said, welcome, welcome, welcome. Please do.
So that's the gist of basically what was happening with Danny. Thank you guys for letting me know about the echo. I apologize about that. But there's a lot of there is a lot of us who are trying to speak what the truth is, and we're constantly being censored. Constantly. And if it's not a censorship, it is typically a throttling of the content that we put out. And if you notice, you don't really see it with the bigger channels. And they'll say that because especially the apocalypse that had been a few years back on Twitter, I'm sorry, not Twitter, on YouTube and whatnot, that it is harder for them. But for those of us who are smaller, who are brand new, we're throttled like crazy. And so I hear you, John. I hear you. Um, and so for a lot of us, this is one of the reasons why a lot of us, we constantly are saying, make sure you're subscribed. If you're not following us on other platforms, then follow us there. Some of us have email mailing lists, which I have to get up on myself. Because the thing is that these platforms, you got to remember, these platforms are owned by oligarchs essentially. And so in order for us to disseminate this information to masses of people, well, you kind of have to get on these. But at the same time, we don't want to water the message down to fit a corporate narrative, because then we wouldn't be anti-imperialist and anti-capitalist if we did that. So I think this is one of the issues that somebody like Danny Haiphong is facing, because he spoke the truth, and the powers that be really don't like it, and they set their algorithms to that. And so unfortunately this is happening to him. And yeah, and you know what, I'm gonna you know echo exactly what Dan just said. Dan said not just a censorship, but an alienation. It's one thing to actually break the rules, but to get kicked for debatable political opinions also just isolates us and gives us a taste of disappearing. So yeah, absolutely. So it definitely is a an alienation as well, and trying to hide the truth instead of, if we are wrong, then allow people to debate us on the merits of the argument. But the thing is that they don't allow that because, well, the thing is that the objective truth is out there, and the truth always comes to light. That's the crazy part, and they don't want you to know that. So, shout out to Danny Haifong. I also put the link to his Patreon in the description as well. Because the thing is that those of us who are in this independent left media space, it is difficult enough already as is. Now I know that I am a significantly smaller channel than Danny's or many of these other channels, but if I can help out my comrade in some way, then why not? You know what I mean? Because we are a community, and so that's one of the things that I think that we need to take into account. Now, as far as the coverage that Danny Haifong is in, please make sure to follow his YouTube channel called The Left Lens. That is, he, discusses with many other journalists that he brings on to talk about it. Also, he is a contributor to uh, the Black Agenda Report. So make sure to also go there and, support him there. He's over there with people like Ajamal Baraka and Margaret Kimberly. So make sure to go to Black Agenda Report as well. He's also on there too. John says, as a 30-year IT person, I can tell you that the government owns the root domain that points to all websites. They can shut down anything with a text edit. Wow. Ooh. That's pretty scary, to be honest with you, because if you think about it, I mean, the ability to silence our speech, the fact that they have that much power, that's pretty scary. I mean, and so the ability to do that, just to shut us down without any true justifiable reason, is something that we all should take to heart. And one of the things I think that you know, and I need to talk about more, but I think we definitely do a great job at RBN, is to talk about having personal relationships in really in-person relationships with people outside of online, being that with your neighbors, people like that. And I'm not just talking about the people that live next to you. I'm talking about, growing those personal friendships outside of the online space. Now, for some of us, it's a little bit more difficult because somebody like me, I'm immunocompromised, so I'm home a lot. I'm not able to get out there because we're in the middle of a pandemic. Plus, I'm broke as hell, so just getting out of the house is also still difficult. But but it's good to do that as well. So Gato said also Black Alliance for Peace too. Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, yeah, I missed that part, but thank you so much. But yeah, so if you guys can give some support to Danny Haiphong as well, and to any other journalist that experiences this. I know that um, Franco from Frank Analysis, his channel is deeply throttled. If you see tweets or posts from people like Rania Kalik, like Caitlin Johnstone, Margaret Kimberly, Max Blumenthal, Aaron Mate, these different journalists, especially the anti-imperialist journalists, the anti-capitalist journalists, especially, if you can, make sure to share their articles, share their Substacks or their Telegram links or something like that, and get this information out there. The reason why is because we're literally, the class war is also a war on information, on propagandized information that the state just wants you to have so that they can have a system of control, versus the objective information that has been put out on the ground, by these journalists, and they are basically, objectively put out to show you what really, you know, these governments are doing, and not just the United States government, but the Western governments and as well, because a lot of times they have their own, typically corporate imperialist agenda, against, you know, uh, other countries as well as here in the United States. So, um, it's deeply important that we actually, bring things like this to light. So this is one of the reasons why I am making sure to talk about this on my program as well, because we have to have solidarity with one another. It just has to happen. We can't just allow this to continue. So yes, thank you so much. Tai G is also in the house. So good to see you as well. All right, so brother number one. And yes, Franco is the fucking man. Yes, absolutely, I agree. Let me see. So Robin says approved under Obama and called the kill switch, I believe. Who gets to flip it might be an obscure pseudo governmental entity known as FirstNet, who promoted ruthless preemption when marketing. Very interesting. Thank you so much for that, Robin. Let me see. So, as far as that's concerned, that's what I wanted to talk about. But the primary story that I want to talk about today is how President AMLO decided to snub Joe Biden this week. AMLO, basically Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador, is the president of Mexico, and so There is an event going on in LA this week. It started yesterday, which is the Summit of the Americas. Basically, a summit where all of the American states, basically all of American states or countries, are invited to have a summit to talk about things, regarding the trade, economics, immigration, safety, all these different issues that affect us here in the Americas. But what happened was Joe Biden basically Joe Biden mean girls three countries. Let's be honest. He mean girls three countries. Okay. So let's go to let's go to Reuters. Actually, you know what? In fact, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna let John explain it better than I can. Because John actually says it pretty succinctly. Just to get um you guys let me see. So shout out to Kasaka News. I think that's how you pronounce it. If I didn't pronounce it correctly, then I am sorry. I'm going to mute myself really quick because I do not want an echo. I learned my lesson already.
Hi, my name is John Parker, coordinator of the Harriet Tubman Center for Social Justice. And we're here with people from the Black Alliance for Peace, Union del Barrio, FMLN, and Socialist Unity Party. And we are organizing a protest for June 8th. And that is when President Biden is going to be at the Summit of the Americas. And we are organizing a counter anti-imperialist People's Summit for Nuestra America, because the countries that should be attending this summit are not being allowed to attend by President Biden. Cuba, Nicaragua, Venezuela are being excluded. They're excluding any countries that are fighting for their own sovereignty, that are fighting against U.S. imperialism's attempts to try and take over their economies and their countries for the benefits of the financial monopolies and the military industrial complex in this country. So that's why we're organizing, and we're going to be making posters and things to get our message out there.
Thank you, John. So basically, that's what's going on. And if you're going to call it the Summit of the Americas, shouldn't that include all of America? From Canada all the way down to, Chile and Argentina and all those countries. Like, shouldn't it include all of America? But, basically he's told the bouncer at the door to Venezuela, Nicaragua, and Cuba and say, nope, y'all can't come in. Nope. And it's like, well, why? Oh, because they're trying to enforce their own sovereignty. So America, well, not America, but the United States has a problem with it. The United States doesn't like that they're asserting their sovereignty as, their own sovereign states. And so I love that they're actually about to do a counter a protest out there for this. But one of the things that recently happened is that President AMLO decided to not go. So I'm going to share my screen really quick and share this article. This is from CNN. So it says Mexican president won't attend the U.S. hosted summit of the Americas due to exclusion of Cuba, Nicaragua, and Venezuela. So it says President Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador said Monday that he will not be attending the Summit of Americas hosted later this week by the United States due to exclusion of several countries in the region. Cuba, Nicaragua, and Venezuela were not invited to the summit because of lack of democratic space and the human rights situations in the countries, says senior Biden administration officials. So this is pot calling kettle black. First of all, actually, no, it's actually more projection. This is pure projection right here because here's the thing. A lot of these countries that are suffering are due to United States sanctions that are on these countries. Especially nations like Cuba and Venezuela. They're experiencing sanctions simply because they want to go a different economic route than what the United States says it should go. Let me ask y'all this. How in the hell are you going you put up so let's say hypothetically you do something wrong to their house, right? Let's say you break the air conditioning of two houses right near you. You break their air conditioning so it's hot, right? And so because it's hot, now these houses decided to install instead of ceiling fans, they decided to install like some wall fans, some window fans, right? And to air out the house. So you broke their air conditioning. They installed some window fans inside their house because that's what they could afford. And then you have a house party. You invite everybody in the neighborhood except for those three, and then you say, "Oh, y'all can't come in because, well, you guys aren't treating your families right. You guys are being bad to your families. You guys are letting your families suffer in the heat." And it's like, but you broke their air conditioning. You broke their air conditioning. They're trying to, alleviate the suffering of the people in their household. And then you blame them for trying to alleviate the suffering in their household by cooling their family off in a way that you don't like. Because you think, oh, well, they should just use ice packs inside their house instead of using fans. All because, and then on top of it, you decide to have a house party and invite people to your air-conditioned home. And when they are like, oh, okay, cool, we can go. Next thing you know, you got some dude at the door saying, no, y'all can't come in. Because of what the United States did. Like, what? So I'm going to be real. Kudos to AMLO. Kudos. Because homeboy with his air conditioning house, he's like, you know what? Nah, I ain't going. Nah. Y'all can take your Summit of the Americans and shove it. And so that's what AMLO did. AMLO's like, nah, I ain't playing you by your game. And while we're at it, we're going to nationalize our lithium. How you like them apples? By the way, just to let you guys know, I do fear for Mexico just a little bit because if they're going to nationalize their lithium, I think the CIA is going to want to they're going to take a trip to Mexico. Because every single time a sovereign nation tries to nationalize an industry and make it more fair for the people in their nation, well, corporations here don't like that. So that's what's going on. Let's go to another article. Actually, let's go here. Because I want to hear what AMLO has to say. We're going to hear what from his own words. Let me see. All right. Okay, so this is from Multiparadista. And it says Mexico's President AMLO said he refuses to attend the U.S. government summit of the Americas, protesting the exclusion of Cuba, Venezuela, and Nicaragua. AMLO condemned U.S. hegemony and its old policy of interventionism and lack of respect. So I am going to mute myself, and we are going to hear what AMLO has to say.
Y no voy a la cumbre porque no se invita a todos los países de América. No se invita a todos los países de América. Y yo creo en la necesidad de cambiar la política que se ha venido imponiendo desde hace siglos. La exclusión, el querer dominar sin razón alguna, el no respetar la soberanía de los países, la independencia de cada país. Y no puede haber cumbre de las Américas si no participan todos los países del continente americano. O puede haber, pero nosotros consideramos que es seguir con la vieja política de intervencionismo, de falta de respeto a las naciones y a sus pueblos.
Yeah, I realized I was muted. I was trying to, for the people who are going to be listening on the podcast, I was going to also read what AMLO was saying. But one of the things that, it was very interesting because he said, I'm not going to the summit of the Americas because not all of the countries of the Americas are invited. He says, and I believe in the need to change the policy. It has been imposed for centuries. The exclusion, the desire to dominate without any reason the lack of respect for the sovereignty of the countries, the independence of every country, and there cannot be a summit of the Americas if all the countries of the American continent do not participate. Or there can be one, but if we consider that to be the old policy of interventionism, or a lack of respect for nations and their peoples. So basically, he is basically saying, like, you guys need to stop all this interventionism and wanting to tell, these countries what they should do and try to enforce your form of government on them without allowing them to have their own sovereignty. Well, it's like, no, you can't do that. Who are you? I don't care if you're the most powerful country in the world. You don't have that right to not only police the world, but to dictate to the world what they should and shouldn't do within their own borders. And so this is what, people like AMLO, as well as many other presidents and leaders of, the other American countries are saying. You even have some that are more on the right that are looking at the United States and saying, no, you guys can't do that. Even some right-wing presidents who are in Latin America are going, now America, y'all, United States, y'all need to cut that out. And so he's right about it. Because if you're going to have a summit of the Americas and you're not going to include these countries because of their human rights violations, quote unquote, then the United States should not be having this summit of the Americas at all in their borders, because the United States has had so many human rights violations to the point where the blood is gushing out of the United States government. It is literally the hands of Biden, Trump, Obama, Bush, Clinton, Reagan. Hell, I'll even include Carter in there. Ford, Johnson, Kennedy, all of them. Their hands are stained with blood. The United States is stained with blood, and they have been doing this for decades, well over a century. And so they cannot sit here and say, it's like, it's like telling someone that accidentally walked in with dirt on their shoes and smudged up their clean floor, that you can't come in because you dirtied the floor, while you're holding a bucket of dirt and you're dumping it on the floor. The highest levels of hypocrisy I have ever seen. So, look, if you're out there in LA, I think it's it's going to be tomorrow. They're going to be having a protest out there. Because why not? Like, the United States is not only excluding these countries who basically have a right to be there. They have a right. Nicaragua, Venezuela, and Cuba have a right to be there. And you're going to sit there and talk about policy and basically things that would affect these countries without them being there. Y'all, man. But here's the thing that a lot of us, realize. Sometimes being ballsy can get your ass killed. Can get your ass, you can get you rocked. And the United States has been doing so much to the world to the point where you reap what you sow. They're trying to do it with Taiwan and China. The United States has been trying to do it with the country that starts with a U that rhymes with propane. They've been trying to do it. And here's the funny part. The United States knows that these things are going to come back to bite it in the behind. But they're trying to make sure that they're strong enough that if it comes back to bite them in the behind, that it won't affect them that much. But guess what? It will. So yeah, that's what's going on in Latin America. Let's get the perspective from one of my favorite sites to go to. This is exactly what it is. It's a boycott. So Mexican president boycotts summit over exclusion of Cuba, Nicaragua, and Venezuela. So President AMLO announced Monday he was skipping the Summit of the Americas following on his threat to boycott the upcoming meeting if the White House refused to invite officials from all nations in the Western Hemisphere. The Biden administration's decision to bar the governments of Cuba, Nicaragua, and Venezuela from this week's gathering in Los Angeles was made final on Sunday. Unnamed sources familiar with deliberations between Washington officials and Latin American and Caribbean counterparts include those in Mexico that said the United States Joe Biden's long-anticipated move was based on concerns about the lack of democracy and respect for human rights in the three countries. However, the White House was reportedly considering a role for Juan Guaido, an unelected and popular right-wing opposition figure who participated in a failed Trump-backed bid to overthrow elected Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro in 2019 at a virtual side event. So they're trying to invite Juan Guaido. Wait, here's the crazy part though. Why are you going to invite Juan Guaido, who is not the president of Venezuela? It is Nicolas Maduro. Now you guys are desperate for oil. You're going to Nicolas Maduro, hat in hand, you said we're going to lift sanctions, and then you're going to beg Nicolas Maduro for your oil, but then you're going to get this poser, Juan Guaido, to come to represent Venezuela, even though you decided to exclude Venezuela. Like, what the hell? Like, what are you are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me right now? You guys had sanctions on them, then you exclude them, and now you're trying to get their oil from them, and you're like, "Oh, we're going to lift the sanctions, but you're not invited to the Summit of the Americas." Like, what in the heck? What in the world? Are you kidding me right now? Like, hold up. This is stupid. Y'all decide. The United States government is. Sometimes the United States acts like Lord Zed, and sometimes the United States acts like Rita Repulsa. those of you who are millennials who used to watch Power Rangers, y'all understand. Yes, John. Yes, this is a clown. This is clown shit. This is so clown. Oh my god. Look, you mean to tell me that you guys are going to invite Juan Guaido, who has no power in the government of Venezuela, none, no institutional power, because Trump failed a coup, and you're going to try to invite him to a like what? And then okay, it could. This is crazy. It continues. Washington does not officially recognize Maduro as a legitimate leader of the South American country, even though he was re-elected last year in a contest that U.S. legal observers called fair. Instead, the United States recognizes Guaido as interim president, and Biden previously invited the Venezuelan coup leader to his administration's so-called Summit for Democracy in December. It says U.S. is excluding Nicaraguan President Daniel Ortega, whose 2021 re-election Biden called fraudulent. According to U.S. officials, the Biden administration decided against inviting lower-ranking government representative to attend in place of the Cuban president Miguel Diaz-Canel, who said last month that he would not travel to Los Angeles, even if invited to the White House's brutal pressure campaign to make this week even non-inclusive. Honduras Socialist President Xiomara Castro will not be making the trip to Los Angeles. Her decision to stay home was announced Sunday. So Honduras president is not going either. Gosh. Man. This is crazy. And it's funny because the United States, has these issues with these countries because basically they're socialist, right? Or they have socialist leanings, right? And they want to take the resources of their governments and use them to nationalize them so that the people benefit from these industries collectively instead of it benefiting corporations, which are based here in the United States mostly. And so because of that, the United States places sanctions and what's the word? Not boycotts. They place sanctions and oh my god, I can't believe blockades on these countries. And then their people suffer under these sanctions largely, right? And then you call the people, when the people are suffering under the sanctions that you put on them, then you try to blame it on the governments instead of the fact that you put the sanctions on them. Meanwhile, you have countries that are literally committing human rights violations and atrocities like Saudi Arabia and the nation of Israel. And you're friendly with them because they allow your corporations to do whatever they want. Even though these corporations are not democratic, they're not democratically run. These corporations want to extract and pay the people of these nations peanuts in order to extract the resources from them to make more money. So basically the United States is really against the working and poor people of these countries. And they're supporting the corporations that just want to extract them for either really cheap labor or for slavery. And then the United States is like, oh, you guys aren't going to come because do you have other countries that stand in solidarity with them? United States needs to get bent, man. The hell? In the words of a European nation, they can fuck off. Like, how are you gonna do that to these countries? How you gonna make a decision in a household and not include some people who live in that household in a decision? How are you gonna do that? Here's the link to the Common Dreams article so you guys can give it a read. But this is wild, man. And I know people like Danny Haiphong, they talked about it as well. They put out a video about it. But yeah, this is ridiculous. Like, the United States really has no room to talk. I mean, you want to talk about human rights violations by the United States? Just look at the police and how they treat people that look like us in this country, or those of us who are on a lower tax bracket. Look at how they treat us. So yeah. Jorge says Saudi Arabia is the country that manipulate oil prices for the United States. Yeah. Oh, while we're at it, let me say something about this. Okay, so everybody's talking about inflation. You hear that word everywhere. Let's call it what it really is. Price gouging. It's price gouging. That's all it is. If these companies are making record profits, they're price gouging. Like, homie, they're shanking you. That's what they're doing. So, I mean, that's one of the craziest parts is, like, why are we calling it that? Why are we taking oh my god, what's the word? Why are we sanitizing basically the transgressions of these corporations? We should not be sanitizing it. Like, no, they are price gouging. And they're doing it because they know they can. That's the crazy part. Yeah. While working people make record lows. Our wages went up over the last 30, 40 years. Our wages went up, what, 10%? but incomes and wages for CEOs and executives went up over 900%. Ty G says, I don't see inflation. I saw 33 trillion get stolen from American wealth. Yeah. Price gouging is happening at the pumps big time. Yeah. You guys are, because I don't have a car, but I mean, my mom has a car, and I have family members that have a car, which means that it indirectly affects me. And then on top of that, the fuel prices will affect the food prices. Even fuel prices are going to be affecting your taxes, because these state governments and these municipalities actually have to pay for the fuel in order to fuel their vehicles. These trucks that are ran by the electric company to do servicing and fixing, they don't run on thoughts and prayers. They don't run on hopes and dreams. They run on gasoline. They run on diesel. So guess who's also having to raise their prices? So if you don't think that your prices, even the prices for your electric is going to go up, yeah, it's going to go up. The prices for your food is about to go up. What do they use to ship medical supplies to hospitals and clinics? Guess what? That's going to go up too. Housing materials is going to go up. Why? And plus, they don't want to use trains because, well, there is this market to make sure that trains aren't used as much because, well, they want to do it by tractor trailer. Why do we call it democracy when it's just cultishness? Yeah. Egg64 says not only are they price gouging, but some gas station owners are piggybacking on and gouging as well. Yeah. So they're going even higher than what the standard is, so they can make a few extra dollars on top of it, because they know that people have no choice. I am scared to see what the gas prices are near the airport. Oh my God. Because a lot of those airports, they have the rental car places right near them. And a lot of these rental car places, well, if the gas is, if the gas tanks aren't brought back full, then they will charge you, a fee. So a lot of people, before they return their cars to, the rental car places, they go up and they fill up before they go back. And so these gas stations nearby know this, so they raise the prices of their gasoline even more than the average. So guess what? They're ranking in a lot of money because they're right near the airport. Hey, Bryce, good to see you in the building. All right. Gosh. So yeah, man. The United States is something else, man. Juan Guaido. Man failed in a coup attempt. Y'all still trying to force that man to be somebody that he's not. President of Venezuela. Gosh. Good Lord. Anyway, I'm going to come to the chat. That's a nice name. Expropriate the landlords. Glad to be in late stage capitalism with you guys. Well, that means that it's on its death knell. So hopefully we can see the end of it before before my time ends on this floating rock. I don't know when I don't know when it's going to end, but Hopefully, I'll be able to see it so that I'll be content with my nieces and nephews and future generations at least having a better future than I have. We shall see, though. But what do you think about these countries snubbing Joe Biden? Like, okay, does Joe Biden deserve to be snubbed? Absolutely. But do you think that there will be some type of economic retaliation from the United States based on this move? Like, what do you think? Because the United States is looking at a lot of these Latin American countries, a lot of these South American countries, and they're going, man, they're going in the same direction of a Bolivia or a Venezuela or a Cuba. It's like they're looking. It's kind of funny because they're looking at the United States, and then they look at Cuba, and they look at Venezuela, and they look at Bolivia, and they look at these countries, and instead of saying, "Oh, we need to be like the United States so that the United States can give us some protection, or we can be like the United States and we can get rich," these countries are going, "Yeah, no, we're going to be like Cuba. We're going to be like Venezuela. We're going to be like Bolivia. We're actually going to national industries, these resource industries, so that we can actually do better for our people." And so you're getting to a point where the United States is kind of like that bully that's standing there, and it's like, okay, you have the United States standing there as the big bully, right? And he has kind of like, okay, I'm going to use my Power Ranger references again, the Balkan skull on either side of him, the other bullies, and you have Israel standing on one side, you have Saudi Arabia standing on another, you maybe have some other goons around him, but then these other smaller countries start to realize, well, like, hey, um there's a lot of us. So then, you have Honduras, you have Nicaragua, you have Venezuela, you maybe have Jamaica, you have Mexico, then you have, you know, South America, maybe Saudi Arabia, you have, DPRK, you have Cuba, you have a lot of these countries, and then you have, the big dude right over here, China, you know, you know, and a lot of them are just standing there and going, yo, we can take this motherfucker down if we team up together. Like, nah, they ain't gonna do that to us no more. They're not gonna bully us around no more. And next thing you know, the United States is like, do what I say, or you can meet me outside at 3 o'clock. And that's when all these other countries are outside waiting. They're like, okay, it's 3 o'clock, let's go. What you gonna do? And there's a lot of them starting to stand. A lot of them are starting to stand up against the United States because they're saying, you know what? No, you're not going to bully us and tell us what we can and can't do in our own countries anymore because you guys are doing the worst of the worst. So the United States colonialism and imperialism, these countries, these South American countries and Central American countries are basically standing up, and chickens are coming home to roost. And the United States is losing its grip, this totalitarian grip that they had on the world, because they've been trying to do it for so long. But now, a lot of these countries are now straightening their backs and saying, absolutely not, you're not going to do this anymore. And I'm gonna be honest with you, it's making me happy. And if Lula da Silva becomes president of Brazil again, hi. And I'm going to put it this way. Not every single administration is perfect. I get it. Not every single country is perfect. I get it. But the thing is that a lot of them are now standing up to United States hegemony and the imperialism that they have been inflicting upon the world. And now they're saying, you know what, United States, you can't do this anymore. And I like to see people stand up against bullies. And the United States government is a bully. I've been bullied my entire life. I knew what that feels like. And so this is one of the reasons why I'm like, okay, good. So that's why I'm hopeful. And I think if I remember during the anti-imperialist summit, they were talking about having like kind of like their own summit of Americas, like especially like a lot of the South American countries coming together to stand up against the United States. So let's hope and let's stand in solidarity, especially with the ones like the Bolivian president and Lula da Silva and I mean a lot of these countries that are trying to have their own sovereignty and really are trying to implement policies that give these industries, to the people. Because that's what ultimately what we want here in the United States. We want the same thing. So yes, John, get their boot off their necks. We don't want it on ours, and we don't want the boots to be on anybody else either. So, you like it? Thank you. So how y'all doing? Y'all doing okay? It's Tuesday. I know. I it's Tuesday. But other than that, there's not a whole lot going on. I'm going to be continuing the reading of Dirty Truths by Michael Parenti probably later this week. So I'll upload that and post that. And it's going to be chapter 1, part 2. So I'll be doing that a little bit later. And at 4 p.m., which is 38 minutes from now, I'm going to be on RBN, and we're going to be on RBN Live. So we'll be having a discussion there. As well as later this week, I will be on with Sabby on Thursday, as per usual. So yeah, and I'm also trying to have some guests lined up for this channel next week. So once that is confirmed, then I will make that announcement. And I don't remember, Matthew. I'm sorry. I don't remember. I'm getting old. You see this hair? See this gray hair? I'm getting old. I'm sorry. I forgot. I didn't take my Ginkgo. But it's okay. Yeah, and there's a whole gun debate and all that other stuff. And let me tell y'all something. Whenever something big happens within the United States, please be sure that there is also something going on behind the scenes that they don't want y'all to talk about. Let's just be real. So there's something that we on the left will probably be arguing about, and then the United States does something under the cover of the darkness. And then next thing you know, by the time we finally look, it's already too late. Oh, wait. I remember. Sorry. We're going to be talking about, well, technically it's going to be a fundraising stream. About Cam Dada. And CJ's mom. We have to help his mom keep her house, because that actually happened to my grandmother, where she owed taxes. She was late on paying her taxes, and then some dude decided to pay on her taxes, on her house, and so he ended up getting the deed to her house, and it gave her 3 weeks to move out. She did that with my bedridden grandfather, and I, remembering how that happened with my grandmother, I do not want the same thing to happen to CJ's mom. So, yeah, that needs to happen. Also, a fundraiser for Tour for the Poor, because Rome is going to Kansas City, Missouri, to be with CJ. Sorry, I told you I'm old. Tour for the Rome is going to be with Nick in Kansas City for Tour for the Poor, and they're also going to be doing like a huge diaper giveaway, as well as they're going to have a barbecue for the neighborhood. Feeding people, as well as giving, not just diapers, but other essential things like clothes and things like that away, for the local people in the neighborhood. So they're going to be doing that, and hopefully, I can be part of the stream. I won't be able to be there, but and also trying to fundraise so that members of RBN, if they can get out there and start doing a little bit of on the ground work, that'd be great too. I would like to do on the ground work, but it's really hot, and I cannot sweat with this thing on my chest, because if it gets wet, and it's also kind of an open area, then I can get an infection. Last time I got an infection, I almost went into septic shock, and I was in the ICU for about a week, and I don't want that to happen again. That was hard. And yeah. Being hooked up to heart monitors and all that stuff, and constantly having to, and I was just, wow. I think that was the end of was that the end of 2019? No. Was that the end of 2019? I think it was in the end. I think it was in November of 2019. I remember I had a catheter just like this. Next thing you know, I was in bed and I started having chills and all that stuff. It was crazy. Had to go to the hospital. Anyways, so yeah. Please make sure, to tune in. And plus, I have a lot of stuff going on in my own life right now that I'll explain further on RBN, but it's a lot. But yeah, so that's going to be coming up. And so I just want you guys to, just remember that no matter what you're going through, you're not alone, but also please vocalize what you're going through, so that if we have a way to assist you and help you, whether it's through, it could be through kind words, it could be through mutual aid, it could be through, it could be, if you have a situation that you want to talk about, because you don't want other people to go through the same thing, different things like that. So, we got to be a community. So, but anyway, I just want to thank you all for joining me today. I will see you all on RBN in about 30 minutes. Water your plants. What? Oh, hang on. Also, like I said earlier, make sure to go to Danny Haiphong's his Patreon. He's also on there as well. So if you guys, want to get some of his content, then you guys can go to his Patreon as well, which I put in the link down below, and subscribe to his channel. Anyway, so as I was saying, I would like to thank you all for watching today. Please make sure to smash down that like button if you have not, and why, I have no idea. Also, if you guys are new to the channel, please make sure to wait. If you have not yet, please smash the like button and press the notification bell just to let you guys know whenever I go live, because sometimes I may go live multiple times in a week or just once a week on Tuesdays like I typically do. So that, as well as please make sure to water your plants and water yourselves. Leave the world better than you found it. Smoke them if you got them, drink them if you got them, and get yourself a nice little snack. And forehead kisses. I love every single one of y'all. Ha ha! Yes, every single one of you, beautiful people. I love you. You love me. We're a great big family.